Greetings. I'm at the beach, obviously, on vacation. But that's not going to stop me from going thrifting because there's still Goodwills at the beach. So, without further ado, let's go thrifting. And the thrifting stores are this way, they're not in the ocean. It's a Goodwill at the beach, and inside it looks like a lot of clothes. I mean, like 99% clothing at this store. It's a lot. Happened to be one lonely CD section with not for sale on the top of it. Apparently the shelf itself was not for sale, but the CDs are. And of course the CDs are all crappy music and like one or two weird pieces of nothing. There was another section with supposedly some CDs, but there was even less there. Some 45s just sort of scattered in here with the VHS tapes and nothing of interest, and most was in terrible shape anyway. They did at least have a sizable useless crap section, so that's good, I guess. As for an electronic section, this has got to be the saddest I've ever seen. One lone RCA VCR and a scale. That's it. Even the puzzles and board games section was more like puzzles and board game. I've just never seen so little in a Goodwill this large. It did at least have some impressive, ugly furniture, though. That has to win some kind of award for the nastiest couch I've ever seen, yet one of the most amazing. Yeah, whatever, let's go to the beach and run after this bird. Hey, bird! You just gonna walk away? Oh. Let's check out another Goodwill. Maybe that was just a really bad one. This one kind of looks like a dentist office or something. I don't know. And inside, it looks pretty familiar. Whole lot of clothing. They did have quite a few LPs, though, in one corner. Mostly just your typical Christmas stuff that nobody wants. And some other stuff that, whatever, I don't care. And once again, one of the most measly electronic sections I've ever seen. You got a VCR, another VCR, a DVD combo player, and one lone Pioneer CD changer. That was the most interesting thing I've seen so far. However, this quickly topped that America Online for Dummies 3rd edition. I just wanted to look through this because I liked AOL back then, especially the games section, as I have talked about many times in many other videos. And checking out the back here, it actually still has the floppy disk from AOL back in the day. It's still sealed. I already have one of these at home, but I still feel like I should have gotten it somehow. Maybe just because everything else in this store is so boring, it makes me see a grill and be like, I could put my face on that. That would be fun. Whatever, time to hit up a beachside arcade and play some coin pushers. Yes! Spent entirely too long playing this Wizard of Oz machine. Seriously, like, way too long. Another Goodwill. This has got to be better, right? If the door will let me in. It's like it wants to keep me away from the boring letdowns inside. Including one of the nicest tie racks I think I've ever seen. I mean, look, they've even got little cubby holes for each one of these ties. That's kind of fancy. And I don't typically wear dresses, but those shoes I'm pretty sure don't go on your head. Over in the media section, it's abysmal. This is the extent of the CDs, right here. There you go. I'm getting a taste of what everyone else goes through at Goodwill. I'm spoiled on my stores. I did spot a few Elvis vinyl records down here, and I got Blue Hawaii in really bad shape. The sleeve is coming apart, and it wasn't, sorry, the king deserves better than that, so I'll grab these another time. Something that did grab my attention, though, is this Power Master PC. One of those kids talking computers, but this one actually has, like, a legit keyboard, a legit mouse. It'll hook up to your real PC. It's got an optional printer and a bunch of programs. Kind of interesting, but not really. I'm just gonna go to Ripley's Believe It or Not and rediscover something from my childhood. This is the display that terrified me as a kid. I came here when I was like 8 years old, at Iron Maiden. And then this floor, which you get on it, and it drops you into the pit of death. Right towards that. It's a great thing for a 6-year-old to see, or 8, or however old I was. Too young. Yeah, that thing seriously terrified me as a kid. I had nightmares for months. But one more stop before I leave the area. Not a Goodwill. We're going to go to somewhere I heard of called Kilgore Trouts, and they have a little bit of everything as far as media goes, and some collectibles, and a really trippy Five Nights at Freddy's looking mascot out front. Okay, that's kind of creepy. I like it. But right off the bat, I am liking what I'm seeing here. Lots of classic consoles and peripherals, record players, amplifiers, speakers, stereo stuff, and just albums, music everywhere. But first, let's check out the video game section, which consisted of quite a bit of, variety. Not a ton of stuff for each system, but some stuff of interest. Everything from the PS1 to the N64 to original Xbox, Atari 2600, ColecoVision, and television, blah, blah, blah. And I really did like seeing some of these Atari 2600 games in their original boxes like this. I just don't see games like Gorf in a box in like such exquisite condition like this very often. There were a few things of interest in the PS1 section, but they were a bit much for what I would want to pay randomly for a copy that's been here so long that it's been sun-bleached. The same goes for Flanker 2.0. I like the shiny gold here on this PC game box, and it looks to be like a European edition, but it was in terrible shape, and for $5, I just couldn't. No. But really, it's the collectible spectacle. It's a big reason that I wanted to come in this store. I mean, just look at all these interesting things. They've probably been here quite a while. Just lots of other random stuff just thrown on the walls in between everything. Lots of Kiss and Metallica figures, things like that. As well as kids' storybook records, mostly on 45s. I listened to these quite a bit as a kid. At school, Sunday school, grandparents, wherever, maybe at home, I don't remember, but I just remember seeing several of these back then. Man, just looking at these makes me want to eat macaroni and cheese with my hands. Screw it, I'll do that anyway this Friday. There are so many records, and these are actually pretty well curated. Very organized, very easy to find this stuff, and everything is graded and priced pretty decently, and everything was 25% off that was used, so I spent a long time looking at everything in here, including the cassette tapes, because I've been getting into cassettes more recently. Didn't end up grabbing any cassettes or any 45s, but holy nuts! Look at the size of this 45 section, and most of them actually have the sleeves. This is crazy, dude. I've never seen this many 45s and singles or even 78 RPM stuff in here. I mean, I've never seen this many that are complete in one spot before. I absolutely could have spent hours in here. And in fact, I think I did. I spent like a couple hours just going through a little bit of everything because there was just so much to look through. And I'll show you what I ended up getting at the summary end cap thing at the end of this episode. Alright, that's pretty much it for the beach, though. I'm kind of let down by the thrift stuff here, so we're just going to head on back home and hit up my favorite Goodwill before the night is over. There's no place like home. No ruby slippers required. Just walk inside the Goodwill and take a look at the interesting stuff, including our little glass case here full of games, which is already a billion times more interesting than anything that I saw at the beach, at least as far as thrift stores go. There's even a Sega Genesis down here, $40. That's a bit much. Looking through the records, and there is a lot of whatever this is. My Tribute by the Lamplighters. This is some sort of local record, I guess. Local-ish, I don't know. And they're all still sealed, and they've been that way since the 70s. There's a ton of them here. Kind of wonder how that happens. I mean, I can kind of guess, but it's sad. I don't want to think about it. Hey, check this out. Indiana Jones and the Emperor's Tomb for the PC. I don't know if I knew this was for the PC. I had this on the PlayStation 2, but not the PC version, and the box is a little beat up, but I can make this work. I'm gonna grab it. There's a copy of Dead Space in a case I've never seen before. Well, apparently that's because this is an EA Value Games game from Europe, judging by the rating and everything. It's always fascinating to me how this stuff comes overseas and ends up in my Goodwills. Over in the CDs, I found a copy of something I didn't know existed, Treasure Galaxy. Now, I know Treasure Cove and Math Storm and Mountain and Bowling Ball or whatever. There's a bunch of them. I had no idea that Treasure Galaxy even existed. I'm going to grab it just out of curiosity, even though I normally would wait for one with the box. And over in the electronics, it looks pretty bare, but you know what? I'm never going to complain about a bare-looking electronics section here again after seeing those at the beach. This one looks great. This isn't interesting at all. I'm just looking at it because anything looks interesting after, here's an Xbox. Oh, look, a Sega Genesis. $20. A beefy Pioneer DVD player down there. That thing looks like some serious business. And a slightly less beefy Sony Blu-ray player, but I always just like looking at these just to see what the prices have come down to. $15, not bad, I guess. Is it just me, or does this girl look like she completely lost her soul somewhere in the process of taking 50 billion pictures to try to get the one that would work? Really cool looking Spartus electronic digital clock thing. I like clocks with big faces like this. On the other hand, it's got to be the dimmest display I've ever seen. Even with the dimmer, turned all the way up or down or whatever, it still looked like crap. And they've apparently moved the puzzles and board games section of this store. I disagree! I liked them all on that shelf back there. Made me happy for some reason. Here's yet another one of those kids' computers, and here's yet another one of me not caring. Maybe one day I'll collect these, not today. Well, that's it for this episode of LGR Thrifts. Let's take a look at what I got. And of course, other than the Indiana Jones game and the Treasure Galaxy game, I got some sweet records at that record shop. So, ended up getting Goodbye Yellow Brick Road by Elton John, which is a classic. I kind of was looking out for that one, actually. Ended up getting a copy of David Bowie's Hours album. I had no idea this even got a vinyl release. I actually really like this album, mostly because of its appearing on the Omicron game soundtrack. It's just good music anyway, though. I also got this bit of awesome classic electronica by Jean-Michel Jarre, Oxygen, whatever the heck, I don't know how to pronounce it. It's great, though. If you've played GTA 4, or, if you've heard this music a lot of places, listen to it. It's a great album. And then there's this. And I grabbed it mainly because of this amazing cover art, but then I looked around the back or anywhere else and I saw nothing that I recognized. I did a little bit of research, couldn't really find much out about it because it's not even on Discogs, there's nothing. This is actually what is known as a tax scam record, which means it's sort of not legit, but yet it is. I mean, it's a real thing, it exists. It's kind of worth a video on its own. I find this stuff really fascinating. Look them up if you want, but honestly, the music is surprisingly good. It's a mixture of like jazz and bluegrass or something. It's odd, very odd. It goes from one thing to another. None of it really meshes together. Well, some of the jazz does on side A, but side B is a complete what the heck. All right, well, that's it for episode 24 of LGR Thrifts. Thank you very much for watching. If you'd like to watch more, please do. Here's more things that y'all sent in to say, hey, look, I got thrifty things too. Looks like you had way more luck than I did this episode. That's good. Good for you. Keep sending me pictures and things on Twitter and Facebook and email or wherever you want to do that. And as always, thank you very much for watching. Enjoy listening to A Concert from Titan.